What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Fast Break Tundra Baller. I'm glad that you guys are here listening live if you are. It's Saturday, 11 a.m. So, this is episode 7 of Fast Break Tundra Baller. This semester, I am Mario Duenas, aka Tundra Baller. I am a 20-year-old sophomore at Cal State Fullerton. If this is your first time here, I am a huge Clippers fan. I am a season ticket holder for the Clippers, and I am part of the Swell, which is a fan section where you stand, chant, and cheer for the Clippers. It is where the most dedicated fans are at, and this is my second year being a season ticket holder for the Clippers. It is just amazing, very amazing experience. Met a lot of great people, and haven't met so many Clipper fans at once. It's just amazing, and and we are part of the Wall, a 51 row section, but in the Swell is a 13 row section. It is the heartbeat of the Swell. But if you guys are here for the first time, also pretty much here on Fast Break Tundra Baller, I talk about the Clippers a lot, but I talk about anything else basketball too. So we're going to be talking about March Madness for a little bit, the first two rounds, and then we're going to be talking about the NBA 65 game rule, and then we're going to be going straight to the Clippers, four Clipper games that we have to talk about today. Before we get started, I want to give a huge shout out to Snoopy. He is just a big part of Swell. I heard him yell at everybody last night. Well, I'm recording this on a Thursday, but last night against the last game we're going to be talking about today, the Raptors game. But he was just getting on everybody's heads on the Raptors. And my guy Better, he brings Snoopy every game. Yes, it is Snoopy the dog from the Peanuts, but Snoopy with a Clipper jersey. So shout out to him. And I think Better might correct me on this, but I think we are 3-2 with Snoopy on board in the Swell. So let's see how this goes. And well, we are in a winning streak, and I would have those two losses on me because I was asking people from my TikTok on the Clippers going above 500 because before those games, the Clippers were 2 games above 500, and then I posted a video about asking Clipper fans how they feel that the team's above 500, and they were all happy and stuff. But then the Clippers lost 4 straight games, so it was not that good. So I think I jinxed them, but now we are on a 3-game win streak as I'm talking right now after the Raptors game show. So shout out to Snoopy. The first thing that we're going to be talking about today is March Madness. So we're going to be talking about one upset that happened, which was High Point beating Wisconsin. It was a 12 seed against a 5 seed. High Point was the 12 seed. Wisconsin the 5th. So Wisconsin, they had a 4-point lead with a minute 08 left when Nick Boyd made a layup with 55 seconds. Chase Johnston hits a 3 for High Point to bring the lead to 1. A second later, Cameron Fletcher from High Point stole the ball and Owen Aquino missed a hook shot. Wisconsin gets a stop, but they miss a layup. Rob Martin grabs a rebound for High Point, and Chase Johnson makes a layup to take the lead by 1 with 11 seconds left. Wisconsin missed a shot to win the game. They intentionally fouled for a one-on-one situation. Cameron Fletcher missed the free throw. Rebound Wisconsin, and they turned the ball over again. High Point pulled the 12-5 upset, winning 83-82 by 1. They played against Arkansas in the second round, but they lost by 6, 94-88. So the person that won the game, the layup to win the game, Chase Johnston, with 11 seconds left, that one layup that he made, that was his first two-pointer of the year. His first made two-pointer. So he came into the game shooting 64 for 136 from the field. Want to take a guess of how many of those shots were two-pointers? Only 4 of those shots were two-pointers. So he was 0 for 4 from two-pointers at the time, and he shot 64 for 132 from 3, which is 48%, which is crazy work, honestly. And to win the game, he made that two-pointer with a fast break layup with 11 seconds to go, and that was his one two-pointer of a season. That was his 1 2-pointer. So in that game, he shot 5 for 7 from the field. And want to take a guess of how many of those shots were 2-pointers? Only one of them. He went 1 for 1 from two and 4 for 6 from three, which is pretty good shooting from three. And against Arkansas, he shot 3 for 8 from three, which was all of his shot attempts, finishing with 9 points. So 3 for 8 from three and 0 for 0 from 2 pointers. He is in his 6th season of college. He spent his first 2 seasons in college at Stetson, starting 54 of 57 games, averaging 14 points a game. He then transferred to Florida Gulf Coast for his next 2 years, his third and fourth year, and he started 16 of the 40 games, averaging 12 points a game. He then transferred again to where he is now at High Point for his 5th and his current 6th year, averaging 6.7 points a game. So now we're going to be talking about one guy from St. Louis. His name's Robbie Avila. He went viral and he was a fan favorite for obviously St. Louis, but a fan favorite for March Madness also. So his team blew out Georgia in the first round, 102-77, but they lost in the second round to Michigan, 95-72. And he has a lot of crazy nicknames that people gave him. His notable one is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, nicknamed after Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but instead of Kareem is Cream, so Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But you got other nicknames like Milk Chamberlain, coming from Wilt Chamberlain, and Larry Nerd. There are even more random nicknames that people gave him, like Larry Bird. So 2 nicknames coming from Larry Bird. So Larry Nerd and Larry Bird. Steph Blurry, coming from Steph Curry. So instead of Steph Curry is Steph Blurry. And Shaquille Oatmeal. So instead of Shaquille O'Neal is Shaquille Oatmeal. Rob Wave. So instead of the rapper name Rod Wave is Rob Wave. And Kevin McPhail. This is because he wears protective goggles during games. So it's kind of like a nerdy like appearance, kind of. So far, he has played 4 years of college basketball as of now. He spent his first 2 seasons at Indiana State. In his freshman year, he averaged 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 1 assist. He was also named to the Missouri Valley Conference All-Freshman team. In his sophomore year, his numbers jumped to 17 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists a game. He was named to the first team All-MVC, which is the Missouri Valley Conference, and he led the team to a 32-7 record. He also led the team to the NIT final. So that is kind of like a consolation March Madness bracket. Pretty much the best teams that didn't make it to the NCAA tournament, they are invited to play in the NIT. He decided to enter the transfer portal after 2 years at Indiana State, and he decided to go to St. Louis following his Indiana State head coach, Josh Schertz. He averaged about the same numbers in his junior year compared to his second season at Indiana State, and he earned second team All-Atlantic 10 honors. In his senior year, he averaged 12 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. His numbers went down a bit, but he earned first team All-Atlantic 10 honors, and he was named the Atlantic 10 Player of the Year. So we're going to be talking about my Sweet 16 predictions. So we're going to be starting off with Arizona versus Arkansas. I got Arizona winning. Texas versus Purdue, a 11th seed in the Sweet 16. I got Purdue winning. Michigan versus Alabama. I got Michigan. Tennessee, a 6th seed versus Iowa State. I got Iowa winning. Duke versus St. John's. This is going to be a really good game, but I got Duke winning. Michigan State versus UConn. I got UConn winning. Iowa versus Nebraska, a 9th seed in the Sweet 16. I got Nebraska. Illinois versus Houston. This was a tough one, but I have Houston winning. So now for the Elite Eight, Duke versus UConn, a really good game. It should happen with Duke and UConn winning their respective games. I got Duke winning though, and maybe score prediction. I got Duke winning by 4 points. Nebraska versus Houston. I got Nebraska. Arizona versus Purdue. I got Arizona. Michigan versus Iowa State. I got Iowa State. So now for the final four. Duke versus Nebraska. I got Duke. Arizona versus Iowa State. This might be a hot take, but I got Iowa State winning. They've been scoring a lot of points lately. So now in the championship, for my predictions, Duke and Iowa State, I got Duke winning. And the combined points, I got 167 points because why not? That was the first number that I thought of. If there's any kids watching, I know you guys are excited over 6-7. So yeah. So now we're going to be going on to the NBA 65 game rule. So it came to a lot of controversy lately, but there's a lot of people that have been talking about it. So let's talk about it. So in 2023, the NBA started the 65 game rule where players that played at least 65 games of the 82 regular season games are eligible to earn most of the end of the season awards like MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Most Improved Player of the Year, All NBA teams, and All Defensive teams. This rule doesn't apply to the Sixth Man of the Year, Rookie of the Year, All Rookie teams, and Clutch Player of the Year. Each player must at least play a minimum of 20 points each game, with the exception of 2 games where they could play 15 and 19 minutes. Players that play at least 62 games that got a season-ending injury may be eligible also. This rule has been played due to reducing load management, and I think that this has done a really good job on it because load management, it's been a problem, and that is most likely the reason why they put something like this. So recently, Cade Cunningham, he has been ruled out for most likely the rest of the regular season due to a collapsed lung. This happened on March 17th against the Washington Wizards. At first, the injury was back spasms, but doctors discovered that the injury was more serious. As of right now, he has played 61 games this season, which is 4 games short of the 65 game rule. He is having a career year so far, averaging 24 points and almost 10 assists a game, while leading the Detroit Pistons to the top of the Eastern Conference. After his injury, the 65 game rule became a bigger controversy than it already is. The NBA Players Association, or the National Basketball Players Association, the NBPA, started a push for a change of the 65 game rule. They put out a statement saying Cade Cunningham's potential ineligibility for postseason awards after a career-defining season is a clear indictment of the 65 game rule and yet another example of why it must be abolished or reformed to create an exception for significant injuries. Since its implementation, far too many deserving players have been unfairly disqualified from end of season awards by this arbitrary and overly rigid quota. Adam Silver, he responded to the situation saying, I'm not ready to say it's not working, it is working. I'm not ready to say because there is a sense of unfairness for one player that the rule doesn't work. There are some other NBA players that have responded to this. One player is Kawhi Leonard. He was asked about it after the Raptors game last Wednesday, and he said this: "It's great for the league trying to stop people from just sitting, but like I said before, I don't think that rule is changing anybody to play if they're really hurt. I don't think it makes sense to try to just go for a game if you're in nagging pain. It's something you're trying to keep under control. It is what it is. The healthiest guys play. That's just how the ball rolls. Jaylen Brown from the Celtics, he said that he was really supportive of the 65 rule. He said this: "It's funny because once again people move a bar. When it first became a 65 game rule, everybody was in support of it. Now they move a criteria 65, and now it seems like the popular opinion it is time to get rid of it. I was never a fan of the 65 games for the record. I always thought it should be like 62. 65 seemed just a tad bit high. I thought 62 was solid, but I'm not mad at 65. I thought that the contrary in the past was that guys would be playing 40 or 50 games and then be up for all NBA teams, and he played half the season. For my opinion about the 65 game rule, yeah, I kind of agree with Jaylen Brown here that maybe it should be 62 because with the 65 games, to be eligible for awards, you need to play at least 65, obviously, but you can only sit a maximum of 17 games. So if you have a big injury like Cade Cunningham's, that could be a bad thing for for you, especially if Cade Cunningham is having a big career season. He led the Pistons to the first seed as of right now. So let's see how this goes. So now we're going to be talking about four Clipper games today on Fast Break Tundra Baller. So we're going to be talking about the Pelicans last Thursday's game. Well, 2 Thursdays ago. It was against the Pelicans, the second game on the road of a 3-game road trip. And the Pelicans, they always have the Clippers back for some reason. So this was a second half of back to back, and it was a double header pretty much. So they played the Pelicans the previous day, and then now they're playing against the Pelicans again. They did not beat the Pelicans the last game, and this game, let's talk about it. So the Clippers, they're without Kawhi Leonard due to an ankle injury. He played the last game, but Kawhi was playing through pain on that ankle injury. And Benedict Mathurin, he is out with a foot injury. He did not play the whole road trip. So he was out for the last Pelicans game. He was out for this game. And he was not playing the next game that we're going to be talking about, which is against the Dallas Mavericks. And Darius Garland, he was resting in the second half of a back-to-back because he is not able to play in back-to-backs yet. Jordan Miller, because of all the injuries, he got his first career start in his third season of the NBA. Just like the problem the Clippers had to deal with the previous day, the Clippers were facing that problem again. The first two baskets from the Pelicans were 2 threes from Trey Murphy III. It seems like the Clippers cannot guard that guy. He's just a big problem for the Clippers. The Clippers, they held on to a small lead for most of the quarter, but they lost the lead at the end of the quarter. They were down 28-26 when Jeremiah Fears hit a mid-range jumper with 3 seconds left, so it was tied before that. And then Derrick Jones Jr., he scored 9 points in that quarter. Trey Murphy III, he went off in that quarter. He had 3 of his 5 threes, and he finished the quarter with 13 points. At the start of the second quarter, Bogdan Bogdanovic, who hasn't been playing a lot this year because players were doing really good when he was out, and he's been sitting on the bench a lot, he made 3 in the first play of the second quarter, the very first play. Then he had another one a minute later. They had the lead for a few minutes, the Clippers, but they ended the last few minutes trailing. They were down by 3, 55-52 at halftime. The Pelicans, they started off hot in the second half when Saddiq Bey, he scored 8 straight points with 2 threes in the first 2 plays of the second half and making 2 free throws the next play. So he scored in 3 straight possessions. The first 3 possessions for the Pelicans in the second half, he scored 2 threes and 2 free throws. The Clippers, they were trailing until they took the lead with 5 minutes left in the third quarter when Derrick Jones Jr. threw down a lob from Chris Dunn's pass. Then they lost the lead about 50 seconds later, but they took the lead again with a minute 38 left with a layup from Isaiah Jackson. But the Pelicans, they took the lead in the next play and were down by 3 points again at the end of the third quarter, 87-84. Kind of a high scoring game. And Saddiq Bey, he scored 15 points in that third quarter. So we had two Pelicans that went off in one quarter. Trey Murphy III, he scored 13 points in the first quarter, and then Saddiq Bey, 15 points in the third quarter. The fourth quarter, a very low scoring quarter. Only 33 points from both teams. The Clippers, they were winning the quarter 5-0 in less than 5 minutes. So there was only 5 points in that time. The Clippers, they had a minute with a 1-point lead with 5:34 left in the game, but they couldn't hold on to the lead. The Clippers, they lost the game 105-99. After going 2 games above 500, they are now 2 games below 500 with a record of 34-36. The Clippers, they shot 2 for 7 from the free throw line. So they got a lot of Chick-fil-A from that. The Pelicans, they outscored the Clippers 18-15 in the fourth. Trey Murphy, he almost had half of those points with 8 of the 17 points. Bogdan Bogdanovic, he also had almost half of the Clippers' points with 7 of the 15. So we're going to be talking about some stats real quick. So for the Clippers, the leading scorer, it was Derrick Jones Jr. with 22. This was the starting lineup: Derrick Jones Jr., John Collins, Brook Lopez, Jordan Miller, and Chris Dunn. So Chris Dunn, I mean, he's been on the bench for a few games, but he was a starter for most part of the season. So I would say about 3 starters, or 2 if you don't count Chris Dunn, because Darius Garland, he took the starting point guard spot. So Derrick Jones Jr., he went 7 for 7 from the free throw line. Pretty much the only person that shot good from the free throw line, besides Jordan Miller a little bit. He shot 7 for 11 from the free throw line. But the Clippers, they missed 13 free throws. They shot 59%, 19 for 32. The second leading scorer was John Collins, 18 points. And the Clippers, they had 15 turnovers, 5 of them for Brook Lopez. Brook, he did not have a good game. I wasn't able to watch the game because of work, but my dad was watching, and he said that Brook Lopez did not look good at all. In almost 29 minutes, he shot 2 for 9 from the field, 0 for 3 from 3, and 2 for 6 from the free throw line. And he had 3 turnovers. Chris Dunn, 3 turnovers. John Collins, 3 turnovers. And Brook had 5 fouls. Derrick Jones Jr., he had 4 fouls. But John Collins, he was 7 for 14, 3 for 8 from the 3-point line. But the Clippers, they were 10 for 32 from 3. Most of the time, it's usually a struggle for the Clippers to be consistent, making a lot of 3-pointers. And they were a little bit better from the 3-point line. The Pelicans, they were 38%, 13 for 34. And, Saddiq Bey, he went off in this game. He had 20 points with 3 threes, 6 for 11, and 3 for 4 from 3. The Pelicans, they only missed 4 free throws. Imagine if the Clippers made those free throws in the fourth quarter. They went 2 for 9. And they lost by 6. And they missed 7 free throws. So imagine if they made all 7 of them, or like 5 or 6 of them. That's a big difference. But Saddiq Bey, he was not the leading scorer for Pelicans. It was worse. Trey Murphy III, he was 9 for 17 from the field, 5 for 11 from 3. So he had 5 of the 13 3-pointers for Pelicans. And then you had the entire starting lineup scoring double-digit points. Zion Williamson, he would usually be a bigger threat to the Clippers, but he only had 15 points, 5 for 7 from the field, and 5 for 7 from the free throw line. So it was all about Sadiq Bey and Trey Murphy. Herbert Jones, 11 points. Yves Misi, also 11 points. But yeah, that is just a big problem. The Clippers, they've only won 5 of the last 15 games against the Pelicans. It is just a big problem. No matter how bad they are, the Pelicans, this season and last season, they're at the bottom. But on the bright side, I think the Clippers this year, it was the best against the Pelicans because they won 2 of the 4 games. Still, I know it's not that good, but it's better than the previous years. Going back to games in about 2022, there are 5 of the last 15 games you only won. So they won both home games this year for against the Pelicans, and they lost both away games at the Pelicans. So now we have the next game to talk about, which was 2 days later, which was a week ago, that Friday, against the Mavericks. The game started with what looked like both teams were trading shots. Najee Marshall had 7 points early for the Mavericks. The Clippers, they had a lot of good shots, and the Mavericks, they just had back-to-back and ones from Najee Marshall and Cooper Flag. Then it started to look like the Mavericks, they couldn't miss. After the first quarter, the Clippers were down 10, 42-32. Klay Thompson, he just came in and went 4 for 4 from 3 and 12 points. Darius Garland, he scored 10 points. The Clippers shot 63%, 12 for 19 from the field, and 3 for 6 from 3, 50%. And the Mavericks, they also shot 50% from 3, but they made 7 compared to the Clippers 3. And the Mavericks, they shot 60%, 15 for 25. The second quarter started with a bang for the Clippers with back-to-back threes from Nico Batum and Kawhi Leonard. Then Isaiah Jackson got a dunk for an 8-0 run in the first minute, bringing the lead to 2. It took the Mavericks 3 minutes to make a field goal. They missed their first 4 shots. Then the Mavericks brought the lead to 12 after an 11-0 run. Then the Clippers started to gain some momentum back by bringing the lead to 6 a few minutes later. Then the Mavericks brought the lead to 10 again with less than 3 minutes to go. They brought the lead to 11 with a layup from Darius Garland, and then he had a careless turnover by losing the ball. Darius Garland ended the half with 2 free throws to bring the lead to 9 at halftime, 72-63. In the first 3 minutes of the second half, the Clippers went on a 13-3 run and took the lead for the first time since the beginning of the game. During that run, 3 threes were made, 2 coming from Darius Garland and 1 from Brook Lopez. In the first 5.5 minutes, the Clippers already had 6 threes and 24 points. The last 11 of those points came from Kawhi Leonard himself with 3 threes and 2 free throws. They were up as much as 8, but the Mavericks, they came back and took the lead a few times. The Clippers held on to their lead at the end of 3 quarters, 199. Daniel Gafford, he scored a layup to start out the fourth quarter to take the lead. Then the Clippers, they took the lead back up 6 with a 7-0 run. With the Clippers making baskets, the Mavericks weren't going away. They kept it close. Derrick Jones Jr., he got back-to-back putback dunks. They reviewed the second one to see if it was offensive interference, and it was ruled a no basket. Only one counted to bring the lead to 4 with a minute 28 to go. John Collins, he got his 6th foul on the other side, making him fouled out for the rest of the game. He also twisted his ankle. Najee Marshall, he made both free throws. 2-point lead with a minute 10 to go. Then Najee Marshall tied the game with 33 seconds to go. Darius Garland, he lost the ball. He tried to do a little too much. PJ Washington got the steal and dunked the ball to take the lead with 23 seconds left. They're up 2. Kawhi Leonard, he tied the game with a floater though. Cooper Flag shot the ball for a win. It was off, then rebound by Daniel Gafford, and then he made it. However, the shot did not count because the ball was still in his hands at double zeros. So the game is going to overtime. So Ryan Nembhard, he started the overtime by making a layup to bring the lead to 2. Then the Clippers, they went on a 11-0 run, take a 9-point lead with a Kawhi layup, 2 Derrick Jones Jr. threes, and Darius Garland, he made his 8th three. Then Kawhi Leonard makes a huge three, a one-legged shot to beat the shot clock to bring the lead at 10, and downs the dagger. The game was over. The Clippers won in overtime by 7, 138-131. So here are some stats for this game. So for the Mavericks, Cooper Flag, he played the most minutes with 40. No, PJ Washington played the most minutes, 41. He had 21 points, 7 for 14 shooting, 3 threes. He also had 6 rebounds. The leading scorer was Najee Marshall. He was the toughest guy to guard this game, obviously, because he's the leading scorer. But he had 28 points, 11 for 23 shooting. He also had 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. The third leading scorer, it was Cooper Flag. He had 18 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, and 4 blocks. He stared down Kawhi Leonard one time, and then Kawhi, he just, that pretty much made him mad, maybe. That's why Kawhi Leonard went off in overtime. And Klay Thompson, he didn't score any more points after that. He shot the ball 2 more times, but he missed them. So he only scored in the first quarter. And Ryan Nembhard, he had 13 points and 9 rebounds, so almost a double-double. For the Clippers, the leading scorer was Darius Garland. His best game as a Clipper so far. Man, this was a really good game to watch. 41 points from Darius Garland. 15 for 24 shooting. That's 62.5%. And 8 for 12 from 3. He made 8 threes. Kawhi Leonard, he had 34 points. A really good game for him. 12 for 22 shooting. 5 for 9 from 3. Man, it was just a really good game. The Clippers, and like I said, they are very inconsistent with their shot. They made 21 threes. And they made half of them. 21 for 42. They shot 56% from the field. 51 to 90. Compared to the Mavericks 47%. 48 for 102. So it was a really good game for the Clippers. Man, it was a really good game. Derrick Jones Jr., he made 3 threes. 15 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. And Isaiah Jackson, too, he played really good. He had 10 points with 4 for 4 shooting. Brook Lopez, too, he got a little better. He had 10 points, 4 for 8 shooting, but 2 for 6 from 3, which is better than most of his games this season. But yeah, it was a pretty solid win for the Clippers. Just really, really great win. Now we're going to be talking about the next game. Is against the Milwaukee Bucks. We have 2 more games, the Bucks and the Raptors, and both of these games are at home. So the Clippers are finally back home against the Bucks. The game started off close. The Bucks took the lead for the first time, up 11-9 with 7:24 left in the quarter, when Ryan Hollins got a layup. Both teams exchanged leads one more time, and then the Clippers, they ended the quarter up 4, 28-24. 7 of the 9 Clippers that checked into the game at the time already scored. Darius Garland led the team with 7, followed by Kawhi Leonard with 6. For the Bucks, Miles Turner led the team with 7, and Ryan Hollins with 6. The second quarter went on. The Clippers went on to a 10-2 run after a first man with Kobe Sanders scoring half of those points, plus a Darius Garland 3, and a putback from Isaiah Jackson. So that equals to 10 points. The Clippers outscored the Bucks by 20 in that quarter, a really good quarter for the Clippers, 43-23, to go up by 24 at halftime, 71-47 at halftime. So it went from a 4-point lead to a 24-point lead at halftime. The Clippers shot 65% in the second quarter, shooting 15-23 and 58% from 3, 7 for 12. Kawhi Leonard had 16 of those 43 points. The Clippers, they started off hot again in the second half by going on a 13-0 run. Brook Lopez, he hit 3 threes plus a hook shot during that run. The other 2 points came from a mid-range jumper from Darius Garland. The run brought the lead from 24 to 37. Just really big. Let's go. After the Bucks ended that run when Ryan Harlan's got a steal and a dunk, the Clippers went on a 9-0 run. So from 37 to 35 to 44. 6 of those points were from Kawhi Leonard when he hit 3 and 1, and the other 3 was from Brook Lopez. His fourth 3 of the quarter. They were up as much as 45 points at one point. They ended the quarter at 41, went away to 67, 6-7 after 3 quarters. The Bucks shot 31% from the field, going 7 for 22, and the Clippers shot 68%, going 13 for 19. Brook Lopez, he scored 14 points in that quarter, which is really big. The fourth quarter, it was pretty much garbage time. This was the only time that the Bucks looked good. The Clippers, they won by 33, 129 and 96. This was the only quarter that the Bucks outscored the Clippers, which was 29 to 21. Gary Trent Jr. scored almost half of those points with 14, making 4 of his threes, and AJ Green scored eight more points. So they combined for 22 points of the 29 in the quarter. And the Clippers, they're now back to 500 with a record of 36 and 36. So here are some stats for you guys. So the Clippers, they shot 58% from the field, 47 for 81, and made 17 threes. So this is back-to-back games where they shot the ball really good. 17 for 38, they made 17 threes, 44%. The Bucks, they made 16 threes. So only one less than the Clippers, but they shot a lot worse. 37 for 84 from the field, 44%. So for the Bucks, they only had 5 players in double figures. Gary Trent Jr. was the leading scorer with 20 points. He made 6 threes, 6 for 10 from 3, 7 for 13 from the field. Sorry. Ryan Hollins, he had 13 points, 6 for 16 shooting, 1 for 5 from 3. The second leading scorer was AJ Green. Most of his points was in garbage time, but he had 15 points, and he was 4 for 5 from the field and from 3. And he made 3 for 4 of his free throws. The Bucks, they only shot 9 free throws. And the Clippers, they shot 18 free throws, so they doubled that, and they made all of them. They did not miss. And for the Clippers, the leading scorer was Kawhi Leonard, 28 points, 8 for 18 shooting, 3 for 10 from 3, made all 9 of his free throws, so he made half of his free throws. So he pretty much shot as many free throws as the Bucks, and he made more free throws than the entire Bucks team. The second leading scorer, it was Brook Lopez and Kobe Sanders, 2 guys with 19 points. Kobe Sanders, he made 3 threes, shot 8 for 10 from the field. Brook Lopez, he had a really good game too, 7 for 9 from the field, 5 for 6 from 3, a really good game. Probably the most threes that he made in a game since that one Blazers game back in December, when he made 9 threes in a game, which was a career high. But it was a really good game. And now we are moving on to the last game, which is against the Raptors. So Benedict Mathurin and John Collins were back in the lineup. I forgot to mention, John Collins, he did not play against the Bucks. But Jordan Miller, he didn't play this game due to a lower back injury that he got last game against the Bucks. It was also Kawhi Leonard bobblehead night in the Plaza at Intuit Dome. They had a claw machine, like Kawhi's nickname, the Claw. They had a claw machine where you could get special prizes. If you got something, the worst thing that you were able to get was a Clipper hair clip, but there were special prizes like tickets to a future game, an autographed basketball signed by all the players, a Kawhi Leonard jersey, and some of them were signed by Kawhi Leonard himself. There was a small claw machine you could get also. I tried the claw machine, but I didn't get anything. One person as well, though, according to my knowledge, got a team signed ball. To start off the game, RJ Barrett scored the first basket of the game with a layup. Kawhi Leonard took the game He tied the game with a layup of his own the next play, and then the Clippers, they took the lead. Jakob Hurtle, he took the lead with a floater 2 minutes later, and then Darius Garland took the lead the next play with a layup. They went on a 8-0 run to take an 8-point lead because it was tied at the start of it with a 2 from Kawhi Leonard and 2 threes from Brook Lopez and Darius Garland. They had a lot of momentum for the rest of the quarter, and they were up at 14 at the end of the quarter, 36-22. The Clippers shot 56% compared to the Raptors' 43%. Brook Lopez already had 11 points while making 2 threes, so a big start for him. Darius Garland, he also made 2 threes and finished the quarter with 8 points. The second quarter was a lot of back and forth. Both teams scored 23 points, and the Clippers were still up at 14 at halftime, 59-45. Jakob Poeltl, he tried to get a rebound and accidentally got elbowed by Ben Mathurin. He immediately went down and was bleeding down on the side of his head. He went to the locker room and eventually came back with a bandage on his head. Kawhi Leonard almost scored half of the points for the Clippers with 11, and RJ Barrett led the Raptors with 7. During halftime, also, funny story, I was able to get access to a VIP lounge at Intuit Dome. It was a really nice place, and it has a lot of free food, and it's a lot better quality than the regular food store at Intuit Dome. They had different pizzas, and ICE bowl station, a salad bar, steaks, and a lot more. The food was really good. I was able to see some of the Clipper players go through the tunnel to their locker room because in the middle of the VIP lounge, you're able to see that, and they go through the VIP lounge to go to their locker room. So that is pretty cool to see. And I was able to see the press room, so that's going to be me one day, talking to the Clippers players and asking them questions and stuff. That is a dream. To start the second half, Darius Garland scored the first 8 points for the Clippers with 2 threes and a layup from Brandon Ingram. And Brandon Ingram scored the first 5 points for the Raptors with a 2 and a fadeaway. Or a 3 and a fadeaway, sorry. And the Clippers, they kept hitting shots and outscored the Raptors by 5, 32-27, to have a 19-point lead, 91-72. Brandon Ingram scored 10 points for the Raptors, and Darius Garland scored 11 points for the Clippers with 3 threes. The Clippers, they started the fourth quarter by bringing the lead to 23, so a lot of momentum. Bending Mathurin scored the first 7 points for the Clippers with 4 free throws and a 3. The Raptors went on a lower run to 14, but the Clippers completely responded, and the Clippers won by 25 points, had a 29-point lead at one point, but the Raptors, they scored 2 straight buckets at the end of the game, and the Clippers won by 25, 119-94 against a really good Raptors team. The Clippers are back to a winning record of 37-36. So the Raptors, they're a really good team. Like, their record is 40-32 right now. So they only have 3 more wins than the Clippers, but they're in the 6th seed right now and in 1 game ahead of the 7th seed against the Philadelphia 76ers and 2 games against the 8th seed Miami Heat. So it is really going down to the wire. And also 2 games above the Charlotte Hornets also. And Orlando Magic. So it could be a really big is really big for the last teams. From 5th to 10th. It's only a 2-game difference right now. 2.5-game difference. So from 5th to 10th, it's really going to be big to finish off the regular season for these 6 teams in the East from 5 to 10. The Hawks, the Raptors, 76ers, Heat, Hornets, and Magic. It's going to be really big for all those teams. And already it looks like that that nobody's going to be passing them up. You have the 11th seed is the Bucks, and the 12th seed the Bulls at 29-43. They're 9 games below the 10 seed Magic right now, so they are most likely not going to make it to a play-in. So all those 6 teams that I mentioned, they're going to be at least in the play-in, and 2 of them don't need to be in the play-in, and they'll be in 5th and 6th, getting ready to play against the 4th seed if they are in the 5th seed, and the 6th seed against the 3rd seed. So for the Raptors, some stats. So 18 points for Brandon Ingram. He was the leading scorer for this game. He had 18 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists on 8 for 18 shooting. Scotty Barnes, a pretty all around game for him. 9 points, 8 rebounds, and 12 assists. Jakob Hurtle, 10 points. RJ Barrett, 12 points. He was off. 5 for 19, 0 for 7 from 3. And Sandro Mamukelashvili, I really like saying his last name. He had 13 points with 3 threes. Kawhi Leonard, he was the leading scorer once again, 27 points. He shot 9 for 19, 2 for 6 from 3. And the Clippers, they shot 51%, and they made 16 threes. So this is the 3rd game that he shot really good from 3. 16 for 35, 45%. They're just shooting really good as of right now, the last 3 games. So the day that you're listening to this live, if you are, they played against the Pacers yesterday, and I have to turn in my episodes every Thursday, so I'm not able to talk about this game for this episode, but I'll talk about it next week. So tune in next week on Saturday at 11 a.m. if you are listening to this live. So Darius Garland, he scored 24 points. He made 5 threes. He has just been shooting really good. Bennedict Mathurin, 23 points in his first game back, 7 for 14. Isaiah Jackson had 12. Brook Lopez had 14 points and made 3 threes. He's shooting a lot better. So that is it for me, guys. So tune in next Saturday on Fast Break at Tundra Baller. And I can't wait to see you guys next week. And we'll be talking about more March Madness, more NBA stuff, and especially more Clippers stuff. I'll see you guys later. See you.